and each building component requires certain way to be installed.
A number one mistake I see the contractors do is they overcaulk the corners and joints.
A good caulking job can make the bad siding job look good, and the bad caulking job can make the siding job look bad. Windows and siding leaks more than roofing. The actual installation of the product, that's only like 25% of the whole job. So the preparation, repairs, to me it was always anything maintenance free. They say like 50-year warranty, and I'm installing it. How the heck I'm supposed to install it to make that last 50 years?
Andrei, talk to me about waterproofing. Why roofers should not do siding? Like, what roofers don't understand about waterproofing in general? As a contractor who does a lot of repairs after contractors who don't know what they're talking about.
I see. Well, I think the biggest problem in the construction industry or like with the homeowner is like water intrusions and preventive measures to avoid it. So we use materials to protect our house from water damage. With the roofs, is like pretty straightforward. You have a leak, you see the next day, you put like some a bucket, call your roofer, emergency service repairs. It's all done. When it comes out to window siding, and some framing mistakes, that can be ongoing problem for years. And when a roofing company advertise siding repairs, and it's really challenging. So the guys who install the siding on a new construction are kind of different trade versus the guys who does remodeling as everyday trade. When you look at the new construction homes, it's all wrapped with house wrap. Most of the time it's Tyvek. It's been monitored by the building. You have all the penetrations, everything sealed. You have pretty much all the flashings installed, and then you just go in and install the material based on the contractor's recommendation. When it comes to remodeling, or most of the time we deal with the hail damage. So siding needs to be removed, window needs to be replaced. So now you go and you tap into the existing house wrap. And most of the time you already have soffit, which stays there, that cannot be replaced. You have the window that stays. And each building component requires a certain way to be installed. And it's like a different trade. And unfortunately, it's in this business, it's all kind of narrowed down. So it's like one specialist specializing in one specific trade, and they go and like do it like they always do it. They never go back and see what happened. To me, the most exciting things in the remodeling business is like demolition and I forgot that word, what it's called.
Preparation?
Well, kind of investigation. When you remove it and you see the product failed, and you start thinking why. And so I've always been told you need to think like a water. Where it can go, if it gets in, it needs to be get out. And you need to think about each exterior component. In case it fails, you need to have like kind of plan B. And to me, honestly, the siding doesn't matter. It's all about the house wrap. So it was surprising to me to learn from my career that every siding lets the water behind. It needs to get out. And then it goes down to what kind of house wrap is being used, what kind of rain screened. And things are getting better now due to the by the help of like YouTube and people sharing, and it's really exciting.
What about caulking? So many contractors, we have a joke, right? Oh, caulk will fix it. And in interiors, like when you're talking about kitchen countertops, bathrooms, we want to seal because we don't want the water to get in around your faucets, around your cabinets, around your corners, right? But on the outside, a number one mistake I see the contractors do is they overcaulk the corners and joints.
I like that statement, and it's true. Well, most of the guys go by do your best and caulk the rest. And then there's another statement saying a good caulking job can make the bad siding job look good, and the bad caulking job can make the siding job look bad. So there are a few products on the market that rely on caulking, and then caulking cost per tube varies from $10 down to two. And then here's like where the contractor can cut the corners if they don't care. There are a few brands that been proven like to stay flexible throughout the years. They stick to wood, like then you peel them, they come up with the fibers.
Mm.
Paintable, last long. But any of those products, they all require the maintenance. So they need to be periodically checked, minimum as often as you paint the house, or you need to constantly monitor to see if you can cracks. Like on this house, when we came in, you can see that it's cedar siding and it been sealed with the caulking to the corners. What happens with the time, UV dries it up and it becomes very rigid. So it separates from the wood, from the corners, and allows the water to penetrate. It needs to be removed, resealed, and that's part of the maintenance.
And no one's talking about it. Warranties don't talk about it. The siding manufacturer will tell you, like, LP, James Hardie, they'll say, well, it's a 50-year or a lifetime warranty, but they will not tell you that you have to do maintenance every couple of years.
I'm not gonna call the manufacturer name, but so we have some products which is pre-finished on the market, and they come with like color match caulking. And like we ran into the problem uh, with that product when we usually work with like standard primed, so you can like smear the siding, you can use it to fill the nail heads, and then it gets painted, you never see it. So now there is a new product on the market, super flexible, it needs to keep the color, it needs to be UV resistant. And by default, everybody been using the same technique, like going back and caulking and like smearing it. And like few years later, like the UV changed the color. And if the house was red, now you're gonna see like some white dots, like some white stuff. And then the manufacturer went back and they changed, like, okay, now you cannot tool it. So you just need to apply it and stay as is. So they changed some requirements. And it always constantly happens. So when Hardy came up on the market, and they had like those cement boards, builders used to use it to cover the foundation. So there was some insulation board, and instead of using aluminum to cover it, they would use that 4x8 sheets. We would rip it down, install it. Like 4 years later, you will see that flaking away because it was sucking water in and like flaking away. And then they would change it and say, well, now you need to keep like minimum 6 inch from the ground, 2 inch from the deck roofing surface, like 3/8 between all the Z flashing. And we had few projects that we installed for the builder, and then we got callbacks, and that's how we learned, like, okay, we did it basically by the book, but it still failed. So what can you do to make this product last
Who's
long?
responsible in that case? Manufacturer or?
Well, every time we get the product installed, I go back and see the installation manual instruction. Like, let's say if it's like 2024, I'm gonna use any product on the market, I'm gonna print that installation manual. And now with the
So
company
you're
cam,
one of those people who does follow the
yeah.
instructions.
So then I'm gonna install it per recommendation or above and beyond to make that product last. And then if I'm gonna be called back, I can show them, hey, well, this is we did exactly like that. And we had that problem with the window installation back in the day. There are like so many times like where they would install the window directly on the plywood. Then they would recommend them to install on top of the house wrap. Then they would say tape the bottom, do the sides,
Yeah.
leave the top open. So there were like so many different ways. And so when you're in the field, you do that. You kind of go back and check, you see what works, what not, and like what's the best way to do it.
And then when it fails, it's still on you. You still get a
Yeah.
call. It's very hard to file a claim with manufacturer. What leaks more, windows or siding or roofing?
Um, I think windows and siding leaks more than roofing.
How often people think it's a roofing leak when in reality it's a siding or window leak? Does it happen
Uh,
often in your experience?
well, on the roof there are like few accessories that can be leaking. So it may be exposed nailed, very rare, like where you have like nails placed in the wrong place that allow the water to get in. It usually takes very long time. It's usually any transition points between roof and walls, and you're talking step flashes, wall flashings. So that's where and a lot of time I would see the window leak in that wall, creating to make it look like a roof leak, and so we get called in and you need to investigate.
Hmm. What do you see the biggest problem in construction right now? Like in quality control, management control?
I believe it's kind of lack of knowledge um, overall. So I think one of the most important aspects is to have a good project manager who is very knowledgeable. So who knows, like let's say, track of what works, what not works, what failed, and they can make the contractors and subcontractors install it a certain way. So I look at it like let's say any contractors they would be like an orchestra and you need a good conductor, like to point out on each step how things needs to be done and supervise it. The actual installation of the product, that's only like 25% of the whole job. So the preparation, repairs, a lot of time. I was recently observing the big hotel bin siding being replaced. So they removed the siding and there was no house wrap. So it was just gypsum board.
Mm.
And you can see the leaks, like where the actual water was getting in everywhere around the AC units, everywhere around the windows, any canopies, anything attached. So you can see like streaking, and it's gypsum board. So it's not even plywood or like OSB. So you're talking mold and stuff. And now when you go back, you need to think like, okay, how do I attach my house wrap to these existing walls? What needs to be repaired, fixed?
So
Cost,
you're one of those
cost,
people.
cost associated. Who is paying for that? Because you or like your insurance company, they, I
Mm.
mean, siding is like, it's like they paying dirt cheap. So, but all the problems that, can be associated with that, it's like, you see tip of the iceberg and everything is like covered. So I think the word is called demolition and discovery. So you remove the stuff and then trying to propose. So a lot of time, like the homeowner will be responsible to pay 30% extra because it's maintenance issue and the insurance say, oh no, we cannot do it, so you can need to prove and fight at some cases nailable surface or not, like how to install the product. But it comes down to basically to the knowledge to install the house wrap or like rain screen to make that product last. To me it was always anything maintenance free, they say like 50-year warranty and I'm installing it. How the heck I'm supposed to install it to make that last 50 years? And one of my
Is it true that installers don't believe in 50-year warranty for the most part?
Well, I would say, let's say vinyl siding, it can last, but it'll fade, it'll chalk, it'll be oxidized, it's gonna become very rigid, it's gonna lose its
Brittle, yeah.
brittle. So, but it can stay on. So I think there may be some products that you can apply to make it last longer, but mentality to build something to last 50 years is like very small things need to be done a very specific way to make that thing
Well,
last long.
last question. A rate from 1 to 10, quality of construction in the United States. A lot of immigrants come here from other countries, from Europe, from South America, and they compare houses made built on bricks, right? Like what they have in Italy and England versus what we have in the United States. 1 to 10, new construction versus what you see 50, 60 years ago.
Uh, my opinion has changed. So first I was like, well, you cannot live in homes like this just when I
It's too
just
cheap,
came because, well, it's not too cheap. It's just kind of build not
flimsy.
tough enough or like strong enough. And it's like a story about three pigs. So I would
Yeah,
say United
it's
States
gonna blow.
construction, it's, one of those little, you know,
Yeah.
but it changed and I tend to like it because I think it's cheaper to build and it can last. I would say it's strong eight. It's
Okay.
affordable. You can it like gives you the ability to design. the house of your
It's
dream
comfortable.
So I mean, you won't be able to build a mansion out of bricks or like 1 meter thick walls compared to the cost of the stick frame building or construction.
If money was not an object, would you live in a wood frame house or brick house or one of those printed concrete houses? What would you build for yourself? If
I would make a research which one of those constructions is eco-friendly.
eco-friendly.
Yeah, I like kind of straw bale and clay for the insulation, something what needs to breathe. And then when you think about one aspect I forgot to mention, a lot of time when we go and work on like 100+ year old homes made out of plank decking and cedar siding, they preserve way better than the new construction like OSB and stuff. Looks like the old windows and like historical homes. I mean, you can see they have some architectural details to allow to shed water. To the windows have like window sills extend past the siding, allow to drip. Versus just all the new construction. I guess all the setbacks about an inch, and it's same as your J channel, same as your trim. So all that water, I mean, somehow it's just really hard for it to drip. And back in the day, they used to have like 3 inch, 2 inch window sills sloped that allow the water to like drip out with the cut. So it was like more thought through. There was no caulking, there was no house wrap, so paper maximum, shakes, split shakes, and cedar, and then you go in and you like, okay, that this house failed just due to the lack of maintenance because it wasn't painted
Wow. Interesting.
long enough.
Agreed. Good answer, man.
Thank you.